Alright, I've seen a lot of new players out there, so I figured I'd cover Miko because when you first start out, he's a pretty easy character to master for support, and he's going to be one of those that you definitely want on your team. So, for Miko, yeah, I guess his primary attack is the poison-coated, poison-tipped kunai, but his secondary is what really makes him the healer. It's a healing beam that comes out and heals for 52 health per second when you first start out. As you rank up, that number increases. Another little point is that the poison does damage over time with your kunai, so he really does help out, and you can buff that with your helix build and gear, especially once you get his legendary gear, so it lasts longer. As for his skills, number one, the biosynthesis is how you heal yourself. You'll hit that and you get 150 health for 5 seconds. But a great thing about this is that if you use that and then hit your healing beam on an ally, the amount you're healing your ally increases by 25%. So I usually use that fairly often. Even if I don't need health, I'll hit that just so I can heal an ally quicker, which means I can get back to fighting. His other skill is pretty nice because right from the get-go you do have a slow, and it's this cloud of spores. You can throw this spore sack out, and it does some poison damage over time, but it does slow him, and later on you can use that as a stun. But his great ultimate is he takes his mushroom cap off, throws it on the ground, and it does a lot of health for the entire team. But when you use this, make sure you're putting it behind a wall or something like that so the enemy can't blow it up so easy. Alright, most of Miko's helix skills are straightforward. Number one, always pick the 100% slow on the right, the breathe deep. He's already a pretty quick character, you don't need the movement speed on the left. For number two, this one's very important, you always pick on the right. That way you're healing yourself as you're healing somebody else. That's important to keep you in the fight. The amount you heal by picking the left option and the amount of times you're going to have to retreat doesn't make it worth it. Trust me, you want to pick right on this one or you're going to die or be out of the fight. If you have the mutation for number three, always pick the center, the plus 13 health per second. That's your main job, is to heal the other players so they can stay in the fight. If you don't have that, go with the cooldown. For the next one, the sticky spores, I never ever use this. Maybe you'd like setting little landmines. It's kind of neat that you throw them down, and if an enemy gets within the area, then they explode. Maybe on a meltdown, you might want to litter an area with the spores. But always pick stun. Stuns in this game are fantastic. It is a little hard to hit people at range because you just kind of lob them in there. People can see them coming, but at close range, you can run up, hit somebody with a stun, especially if you're following around a melee character, healing them as you go. I've done this with Galilea. I'll stick on Galilea, go and engage, and I'll be able to hit them with a stun. Galilea will engage. Galilea will use the shield as a stun. You can get back-to-back stuns. It's really nice. For the next one, pervasive poison is actually a really good one. The amount of poison damage you're doing with your kunai is included in your next healing beam. So it almost turns Miko at this point into like a burst healer. So if you're having trouble really having to stick behind a tank to stay on him, if you have this mutation, pick that one. Otherwise, it's kind of tough. If you're having trouble staying alive, pick the lifesteal. If otherwise you're attacking more, you could pick the right option. But if you have the mutation, you want the pervasive poison on. Alright, for level 6, for this one, it's again, if you have the mutation, pick the middle option. By this time, everybody's ranking up and people are doing more damage, so you're going to have to heal more, and that's what you really want, is that middle mutation. The other two, if you don't have the mutation, I would say you probably want it depends on the game, whether you want the extra healing or the damage. Just kind of depends how your team's doing at the time. But if you have the mutation, pick the middle option. For number 7, I always pick attack speed. Like I said, Miko's already pretty quick. I've never been in the situation where I thought, oh no, I wish he was a little bit faster. So movement speed, if you're taking damage, no, I'm not going to flee. I'm going to try and stay in the fight and have more attack speed. Now this one here, I always pick the cooldown time. That way I could use it more often, because there are times where I will use the biosynthesis when I'm not even hurting on health, just so that I can get the extra 25% when I'm healing an ally. Having the extra cooldown, or the cooldown reduction, means I can use it more often, and I'm healing my teammates quicker and keeping them up, and that means I don't have to heal as often and I can fight more. Now for this one, since I used the stun, I usually pick the Spore Storm, so it's an area of effect. I don't know if that affects the stun at all, but if anybody has an idea on what happens if you pick the stun and then using left or right on number 9, leave it in the comments, because I'm not really sure. But I always go for area of effect on this one, just hoping it helps. That way if I miss with the stun, maybe it slows the other people down. It might be better to pick right, I don't know. Now, almost always on number 10, I'm going to pick Vicious Strand. It does 167 damage per second, which is not a whole lot, but if you're able to hide that mushroom behind the wall, any minions coming up, it can help clear out the waves. The other ones, I'm not usually putting down more than one mushroom, and at this point you can figure out that it doesn't take much for these mushrooms to get annihilated. So if you're using 2, would have to put them in little specific spots. And even the 214 on the mushroom health is not going to last long. As soon as somebody from the other team comes up, they're going to take it out. So I always pick the right. Now, as far as gear, if you looked at my Kid Ultra video, I'm going to run the team player loadout for Miko. It's kind of my standard support character. So the Oath of Sustained, again, gives me health regen and attack damage, and 2.5% of the damage that I deal heals my allies. But the first one I turn on is Solar Sustainer, which gives me an extra heal power by 14%, 5.5 extra attack damage, and then if I heal an ally, they get 5.5 attack damage, and so do I. Because I got 2 legendaries, I'm running a shard generator. So that's my basic loadout. I hope you like it. Hope you have fun playing with Miko, and leave a comment below.